Hi you guys, welcome back. I have totally missed you all. I have been out of state, and so therefore I was away from the garden and I did not have the opportunity to upload content, and it was just constant going, just being on the run, this appointment and that appointment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to the back and I am going to... Now, I know you guys can hear the thunder. It's been kind of like acting like it's going to rain. It starts and it stops. So I'm going to hurry up. So this is what we're going to do real quick. We're going to run to the back. I have to water in my containers back there because, you guys, while I was gone, I paid somebody to water the garden and nothing got watered. So my show is in distress, so I got to do some emergency care. I'm going to walk you guys through and I'm going to show you what I do to save my show in the event that you go through something just like I did. We got to change this battery first. Come on, you guys. So this slot just comes out here. So it just comes out the back of it here. So we're going to change these out real quick. So we're going to come in just like this. We are going to put the batteries in. This is going to allow us to cut the fountain back on. Next morning, everything looks good. I am going to give a little bit more supplemental water. And so what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that my petunia is going to be able to maintain itself throughout the heat of the day today. So again, even though we have the sunlight beaming down, I'm going to go up underneath the canopy here and water at the root level. Very important. I guess I should have turned the water hose on first. I'm going to turn it off until I get up underneath the canopy here. I'm just going to lift that up and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to water. Now let's go look at the front. We have water inside of the fountain. The fountain is trickling through. The water doesn't look too bad. We'll get in a second and I'll show you what the water is looking like. But you guys, these containers, now here's the thing. In these containers, when you do container plantings and you do your combinations, you want to do like plants. So what that means is that you want to incorporate plants that like the same environment, especially if you are a beginner to container planting. Because in these containers, we have a fern. Well, our fern is going to like more of a moist environment. Our fern is going to like to be kind of on that moist side, not soppy wet, but it is going to like more water than our geranium here, which likes to go through periods where it dries out. Our supertunia, it likes to kind of stay evenly moist. And then our licorice plant here, lantana can take and tolerate being on the dry side. But all of that, you know, overall everything still looks good. I'm loving the show. Can you guys see how these have filled out? Because they were not looking like this when we first planted them out. Our fern is doing great. Same thing over here on this side. Are not going to give anything up here in the front, any supplemental water, because we came in, we put drip tubing in place, and so therefore we don't necessarily have to worry about giving the supplemental water, because they got a nice long watering early this morning, about 6 o'clock this morning. While I was gone, the batteries in my drip tubing system, they did die out. I got a notification on my phone because the batteries were dead. All of that is battery operated. I am going to try to find a system that works more off of the electricity in my home versus having to rely on batteries, which that's fine. It'll do for right now. So they went about maybe a day and a half, 2 days without water. But during that time, we didn't get any supplemental rain, so they didn't get any water. So they look pretty good, but it was in the heat of the summertime here. So I can definitely see in these containers over here, they were being deprived of water here. So a little bit here, we'll just go ahead and take this bud out while we're right here. So before I left, go get your leash. Go get your leash. Come on, get your leash. So I could definitely see in these containers over here, I don't have as much volume right here in this section because they were not, again, getting that watering. So you'll see where the verbena start to fizzle down, but that's okay. I'll show you how I'll boost these out in another video. Now, since they just going through an extreme dry spell, I watered them in. I'm going to see how they acclimate. We do have some new buds here getting ready to push on our geranium here. So everything pretty much looks good. And so for the most part, you guys remember, we came in and we split the ferns in half, and they're doing fine. We are expecting some storms today, so I do want to get a container planted for my back vegetable garden. Came outside because it sounded like we heard a tree fall down, but here's both of our trees right here. They're still in good condition. The calmness after the storm ended up getting rain, and I'm so grateful for it. Only going to add to the success of my plants. And you know how sometimes when it rains, it brings that temperature down? It does that, but then in the St. Louis region, it gets so hot and humid after the rain. But I'll make sure you guys will be seeing the containers in the front, and you'll be seeing what the progress is. So now I have a table that's bare. I'm going to put my little formula together that I like to use when I'm trying to force something to bloom, and then we'll follow back up and we'll check in with it. So let me go get the plants or the supplies and things of that nature. So I have a mixing bowl here, and then I also have the formula that I like to use when I'm trying to force something into bloom. So we'll set that off here on the side. Now we just got to get the plant that we're going to be using for this container. So let's go get it. We are actually going to just use a geranium for this planting. Now, one of the things about geraniums, I can get geraniums to have blooms on top of blooms on top of blooms on top of blooms. So we're going to be using this container. I like it because it's a square and it's really going to add to the ambiance and just make it a little bit different. Very nice to have containers that have a lot of accents and things like that, but sometimes you want the plant to shine versus the container. Sometimes you want both, but in this case I want the plant to shine because in a very short time we're going to have a ton of blooms. This thing is going to be covered. It's going to be huge. So what we're going to do is we're going to just get some soil inside of here. All right, so we have our soil and we don't need much. I'm going to come in and I am going to add my fertilizer here. This is a mix that I like to use, and I'm telling you, you guys, I always get success all the time when I use this. Okay, so we're just going to pour this in just like this. So we'll just put this in here. And I like to step back sometimes and just let the dust kind of just go on its own way, and then I slowly mix this in. So we're going to be using a little small piece of screen, so we're going to put that down first, and then on top of that we're also going to use a coffee filter here. And we're going to put a little bit of soil down at the bottom and into the corners. Let's scoot this over for a second and let's look at our specimen. So with geraniums, we're going to pull back anything that does not look attractive or appealing. We're going to go ahead and pull that off. Any type of leaves that are yellowing, we're going to go ahead, we're going to pull those off as well too. All right, now we're going to go ahead and just plop this right on in here. Do have to fill in a little bit on the sides, a little bit. And I put my soil back in because I'm going to reuse it, honey. All right, so now anything, again, that does not look attractive, okay, now we can stop here or we can actually keep going and just brush off my leaves a little bit. That's one of the things I like to do. I like to keep plants, keep them in and out of rotation. And so sometimes while they're waiting to be planted up, they can become a little bit frazzled. So I just kind of hold the leaf and just brush. That's all. Very simple and easy. You don't have to get rough with it. So everything looks good. Now just brush that off. You can spray it off. I kind of like to do both, really. Then also, I check the undersides. Now we're going to water this in. Really, really good. Because we want to activate the fertilizer here. So we're going to let this drain out for a little second, and then we're going to get this in its place. In the meantime, and in between time, I will clean off this table. We're gonna clean this table off really, really quick. Now that the table's cleaned off, we've had adequate time for our container to go ahead and drain out, so it'll be fine for us to set it on the table. Let's go get it. Absolutely perfect. It's not too overpowering. Now I will say, once it comes into bloom, it will look like we have a large bouquet of flowers, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I love a fresh garden that is in bloom. Down in the comment box, let me know, do you have any geraniums in your garden? Have you went away for the summertime or went on vacation or however have you, or even forgot to water? What is your strategy that you like to do for your plants? I showed you guys what I like to do with mine. Fingers crossed. Containers did seem like they were not that bad off, but they will start to show the distress, and I'll take you guys along with me and I'll show you the journey and the process of how I like to go in, how I like to make sure my show continues on, because I travel quite often and I'm actually getting ready to be in Oregon for about a week. So that's going to be so exciting, and make sure that I show you all the process. And you guys, I cannot wait till you see the full bloom.